Hello, I'm Jim Lyons, Chair of the New Hampshire Realtors Risk Management Subcommittee. As Realtors, we all know how critical good pictures and video is to the success of marketing our listings. One of the newer technologies that's available today are drones. The use of drones is controlled and regulated, and today we'd like to talk about the best practices. With me is attorney Chris Hawkins of the law firm Divine Millimet in Manchester to talk with you about how to stay safe with drones. Well, how can realtors use drones?
There's a lot of very interesting videos on YouTube. You can see the potential uses of this technology for marketing purposes. And so we think that's some ways that realtors can take advantage of this technology.
Can anyone operate a drone, Chris?
Not just anyone can operate a drone for commercial purposes. First thing you need to know is that a drone must be registered. Very similar to the way a boat is registered. If it's above a certain weight, you have to register it online. It's a very inexpensive process. I believe it costs $5. The other important thing to know is that if you're using a drone for your commercial purposes, you have to have a certification in order to do that. Up until very recently, only someone who had a pilot's license could use a drone because the FAA was concerned that people who operate drones are familiar with the rules of operating in the public airspace. Effective August 29th, those rules are being relaxed so that all that's required is basically a safety certificate, what they call a remote pilot certificate, that you obtain by taking a knowledge-based test through an FAA-approved testing center. So the drone can only be operated by somebody who has that certificate or is operating under the direct supervision of somebody who has a safety certificate. The FAA website has a lot of very helpful information. Then there's a YouTube video put out by the FAA specifically that explains the testing process, and links to the FAA website and to the YouTube video will appear in the description of the final version of this video.
Can you give us an idea of how many drones are actually out there?
Yeah, as of May 12th of 2016, there are over 460,000 registered drones in the country and over 2,500 just in New Hampshire. And those are just the ones that are currently registered with the FAA, and I'm sure those numbers are growing as we speak.
From a realtor's perspective, what should we think about before we would use a drone?
I think the first thing you need to do is familiarize yourself with the FAA regulations that relate to the use of drones. Most importantly, that the operator has to be certified by the FAA in order to use the drone for commercial purposes or be working under the direction of somebody who is certified. You should also be aware that just because you're using a drone in a way that may be appropriate under the FAA regulations, you still need to be sensitive to trespassing or invading someone's privacy using a drone or violating other provisions of law. Just because you may be complying with the FAA regulations doesn't necessarily mean you are immune from other forms of complaint. People are very sensitive about the use of drones. They're very sensitive about their privacy in this day and age. It's a big issue. So we think it's important for our realtors to be conscious of that and be respectful of the privacy of other people. They should obviously get permission from, if you're going to use a drone to take a photograph of or an image of someone's property, you should have their permission. And if an individual person is going to appear, then you should have their permission to use their image. Also want to make the industry aware that there's currently a bill pending in the New Hampshire State Legislature that would, in our view, significantly curtail the potential uses of drones. That's not yet become law, but we're keeping a close eye on that, and we think realtors should be conscious of that.
I believe our public policy committee's working on that as well. So. Well, Chris, how can realtors find out any more information about the whole topic?
In addition to looking at the FAA website, which we discussed, I suggest that they first contact their managing broker and find out if their agency has a policy relating to the use of drones. Because you want to be sure that you comply with the law and that you're covered by insurance. The insurance industry, the insurance market for drone products is developing very, very rapidly. And if you're not sure whether you're covered for the use of a drone, definitely contact your insurance agent for more information as far as that goes. And of course, we at Divine Millimet, and there's other attorneys, very good attorneys in the state who follow developments in this area. We're happy to help anyone develop drone use policies, talk about insurance issues, how to obtain the appropriate permissions, and provide any more detailed information people need.
Terrific. Well, I thank you for joining us today to provide such helpful information for drones. And I think it was terrific information. Hopefully you found it to be the same, and that you will use the resources that have been provided today for more information, and stay safe. Thank you.